Oceanic Beach Ultimate Championships here in Shirahama, Japan. I am Liam Grant and I'm joined by Katie Locke, guest commentator. You may recognize her voice from under 24s in Perth. How are you doing, Katie?
Good, thank you, Liam. Great to be here in sunny Shirahama, and a fantastic match-up between New Zealand's Marvellous DC and Australia's national team, the Mud Crabs.
Yeah, and it's classic New Zealand offense there as we see a hook first pass.
First pass, classic Trey Stevenson throw. He loves those long shots.
Yeah, so I'm hoping on you knowing a little more than me on these Australian and New Zealand players, but we'll have the banter, having the chats.
Definitely, and yeah, like I said, I'm coming from Australia, managing this Australian team along with the rest of the Team Australia cohort. And being a New Zealander, I've played with a couple of these New Zealanders before, so I can give you some fun insights. But back to the game now.
Yeah, and it's Australia with a chance to break this first point. And the Mud Crabs are the national mixed team, is that correct?
Correct, open age mixed team. We also have a Masters age mixed team as well.
We just streamed them moments ago. The Australians getting their bang for the money on the streaming side of things. We see the hook go up and a great catch just outside the end zone now. And it's a goal for Australia. They break the first point.
Beautiful. Great take there from Sam Shallard, passing that one through to
Tim Hayes. Yeah, so 4 Australian teams in a row. I've this idea that there's Australian people at home that are sat down pretending to work and just watching all 4 games back to back.
100%. I literally was just on the phone to Dan Rule from Ultimate Australia, and he said he was catching a bit of the Hammerheads game, and he's been very involved with Indian Ultimate as well, so that would have been a matchup he wanted to see.
Yeah, I wonder who's cheering for it. Who'd you think?
Oof, I think he probably would be true neutral in that situation.
Yeah, two first Australian teams lost their games, unfortunately. So 0-2 in this 4-round Australian bracket. But I think this mixed team, the Mud Crabs, are going to try and answer back, get a win for Australia.
100%. And the next game we have coming up on this field is from the Reef Sharks, the Australian men's team. And they had a win this morning against the Singapore 1 team in the Open Division. And we'll be seeing them come up against Singapore 2. So you'd expect the odds to go in their favour. As we see the Mud Crabs coming out on defense, Marvellous with a chance to get a goal back in return.
Yeah, unfortunately turned over to this pretty early in that first offensive point. Now going upwind, maybe looking to steady a ship a little much. And they aired another deep shot. This one, a lot of pressure. Oh, and a great grab.
That is a beautiful honey pass there from Haberford to Ruhlman. Gorgeous point, gorgeous grab. And Ruhlman, she is so difficult to chase.
She, I believe, born in the USA. Is that true, Roland?
Correct. She is American, but has been in New Zealand for a couple of years. Based in Wellington, plays for Capital Punishment. Okay,
that's great. Yeah, quite a few New Zealand teams in this mixed division. 3, I believe.
3, yes. But this one's probably got the most New Zealanders on it. Marvellous DC, being a club, been around New Zealand for a couple of years. They won the most recent New Zealand Mixed Ultimate Championships. But now there's 2 other sort of semi-pickup New Zealand teams, I would say. One called Aotearoa and one called Nomads, and both of them feature a wide variety of nationalities on them.
Yeah, I think Marvellous DC have the best jerseys here. That's what I'd be saying if it was opposite day, which it is not. Which is also what I'd say if it was opposite day, so that's kind of an oxymoron. But
I have no idea what your feelings are based on that. But look, one thing I do love is that they go full superhero mode. They all, rather than having names or having the club name on the back of their jerseys, they have superhero names. So each of them has their own individual superhero that they have as their alter ego.
What superhero would you be if you were on playing for this team?
I probably would be Scarlet Witch.
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
She's from Marvel Universe,
Okay.
played by
Okay.
Elizabeth Olsen in the Avengers movies.
I suppose it has to be a Marvel character. I was going to say the Gingerbread Man, which isn't really a superhero, more just a kind of
Fictional character.
or a baked treat. But
And we have one of the co-captains, Will Christopherson, walking up this disc to the brick mark.
bit of a gingerbread man himself. And now looking towards the end zone, it's 2 deep cuts. And then with the big under coming underneath is Helen Epstein. Will actually involved in AO All-Star Tour, I think. Financial director wasn't actually on tour, but did his bit to make sure that tour happened. So fair play to him.
Yeah, he's heavily involved in a lot of volunteer work in the ultimate community, and particularly has a love for beach ultimate, being on the BULA, I believe.
And now a shot to the end zone. That is another goal for Australia. There's a pick called.
Yeah, Finney was just way too open there. Matt Finn, affectionately known as Finney.
And has the mixed team and the mixed masters team trained together at all or played each other at all?
Yes, they've had 2 training camps together, and whilst I was not there in person, I imagine they definitely had some scrims there.
I was just wondering what the head-to-head record was like, because I was really impressed with that mixed masters team.
Mixed Masters team is phenomenal. So yeah, I'm unsure of their head-to-head, but there has been another pick called, another open throw to Finney. A little bit of chat.
So you're staying in the tournament hotel, Musashi?
Yes, correct. So the men's and women's teams from Australia are staying in Musashi, along with myself and the other team manager and their support staff. And yeah, the other teams decided to do their own thing, so staying elsewhere. But Shirahama's small town, easy to get around, so we're a walking distance from the beach.
The beach, of course, made with Australian sand.
From
So
Perth,
kind of home turf advantage in a roundabout way.
100%.
Definitely not New Zealand sand.
No, it would be a lot grittier.
Yeah, as you see this gritty defense coming out here from Marvellous DC as they try to get the disc back, but very patient offense from the Australians.
Definitely. They're really starting to taper down, but they get it through, swing through to Finn, passing to Roslia.
Yeah, great goal for the female player from Australia. So that is that 2-2? I thought, 2-0?
2-0, yes.
So yeah, a good start for Australia in this game.
Having a couple of technical issues with that scoreboard on the sideline, but
It's been a highlight of my day so far, the scoreboard.
to be fair, when watching the women's game in the first time slot, I particularly appreciate the fact that they kept putting points on Australia when Singapore was scoring, but that's not the case.
They're just trying to be fair, keep it nice, keep it friendly.
But by my record, this is 2-0 to Mud Crabs.
So yeah, a lot of the volunteers are Japanese. Have you learned any Japanese since being here?
I know a couple of basic phrases, and that's about it.
Give me some. What have you learned?
Arigato gozaimasu.
Gozaimasu. That's the hard part. Gozaimasu.
Yeah, so that means thank you very much,
Yeah.
rather just thanks, which is arigato.
My word of the day is oishi,
Mm.
which means delicious.
Well, I think this is looking some uishi over here.
Yeah.
And we have Annie Chen taking that disc. She's based in Australia now. Oh, fantastic layout there. Mud Crabs with another chance to get another break.
Yeah, looking to go 3 on the trot here against this New Zealand team. I believe Marvellous DC went to the World Ultimate Club Championships.
They did indeed. They took quite a big roster there and had a lot of fun. I'm unsure of placing, but there was, again, 2 or 3 mixed teams from New Zealand there. And there was a men's and women's teams as well. So some of these players playing World Clubs last year. I know a couple of this roster playing up with Marvellous DC. Again, we're just seeing great examples of this patient offense from Mud Crabs, but just as I say that, there's an overthrow to the break side.
You've forgotten about the commentator's curse.
I have.
Comes into play here.
Look, it's been a little while since I've been on the mic.
You hurt your own team there. They've you to blame for that one.
That being said, that Marvellous DC were egging me on earlier and saying, yeah, just because you're on the payroll for Australia doesn't mean you have to cheer for them. So you see a great bumpy match up there.
Yeah, nice jostling for position.
But there has been a foul called by the Australian player.
Michael Valdez. Yeah, there was definitely contact. Hard to say who initiated it. Trying to hold position there, Valdez.
Yep, Charlotte just having a chat with him. Was the defender in this situation, but clearly thought that the contact impacted his ability to get on the disc.
So there's only 2 returning players from WCC 2018 in Ohio, and that is Troy Stevenson and
Liam Haberford. Yeah.
So quite a big turnaround in the roster there, but have the depth to send a team to this event as well.
Definitely. No, they opened up the roster to a lot more of their friends, but yeah, this, I see an emergency dump backwards.
I do like the super dump.
Super dump, yeah. High release, floating, Chen getting that safely. Thanks that hammer.
Yeah, good patience now from DC. They've been trigger happy so far in this game, and it hasn't worked for them. They need to keep that patient offense. I think there's a pick call, which gives the players a little bit of a breather.
Yeah, it can go one or two ways when you're this close to the end zone, though, having a stoppage.
And that is Captain Liam Haberfield wearing the number 37 jersey. A prime number, and a man definitely in his prime.
He's a personal trainer and looks after a lot of the ultimate athletes in New Zealand.
So maybe not favourites to win the tournament, but could be favourites to win the Spirit Division.
Oh, New Zealand often is. And if it's not this team, I would eat my hat if one of the other New Zealand teams doesn't get it.
Well, I see him eating up into the end zone there. Valdez gets the score. So, yeah, you could be eating your hat. We might see that later. We'll hopefully live stream that one. So, speaking of super dumps, how have you experienced the Japanese toilets? They've been...
Oh, yeah, they're fantastic. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, they're quite... First time I sat down in one, it was incredibly warm, the toilet seat, which kind of spooked me a little bit.
Yes.
Usually a sensation you don't want.
No, it means somebody else
Europe.
has recently been on it. But no, the bidets are good fun. It's a unique experience, but it does the job.
I was frequented one last night that was Panasonic. That was the brand. I'm like, is Samsung Panasonic? Like, are these... Am I Instagramming? What's going on here? What's happening?
No, interestingly though, I was in Korea on the weekend, and I tried a bidet there, and it was not as good. I mean, not that they're as common in Korea, but I think it was in a place obviously frequented by Japanese people, and yeah, the water was cold to start with, which I did not enjoy.
Yeah, good day to all the bidets out there. That's what we're here to review.
Yep, telling all the Aussies and Kiwis back home to come to Japan and try some bidets. They're not that scary. Australia back out in O.
Oh, and a miscommunication there. We'll give DC the chance to get another goal on the bounce.
Oh.
Spicy hammer. Oh, that one just not going to work out.
Folded a little too short there.
So Christopherson will get this one back.
And hopefully he can get past his first pass without miscommunication there. But he's a very experienced handler, so he will find something.
And a nice open side undercut there from Australia. Working up this near sideline, putting up a spicy hook.
That is spicy indeed. Oh, great take there.
Yeah, great positioning from the captain, or should I say that is actually James Ray, the Spirit captain, who got that grab before the goal was scored.
And Belinda Wilson with the score.
Yeah, so going by a spontaneous scoreboard, I would have thought it was 3-1 to Australia.
Correct, that's what I believe it is.
Yeah, they had the opportunity to break there, Marvellous DC, but gave the disc back to Australia, and they're not going to give it up more than once.
No, this Australian team definitely is quite calm and, you know, generally good execution and decision making with their disc on offense, which is a skill that every team wants. Turn it over less if you throw it better.
So I believe there's only a mixed beach championships in Australia. Is that correct?
Correct. They so yeah, despite the fact that Australia you think would be known for its beaches, beach is not very popular, and the grass is the more popular format. So yeah, there was the Beach Ultimate Championships held in Coolangatta in Queensland in May, so after the end of the grass season. And for a lot of people, it's a social tournament. Oh, fantastic grab there from Joseph Hobb.
Yeah, Joe Hop now looking to shoot to the end zone after getting that big defensive play. Pops the lefty, and another quick pass, and that is a great break for Australia.
Oh, fantastic grab. And Bob's with a great smile on his face. Just coming out of nowhere with that layout grab. But yeah, as I was saying, the Australian Beach Ultimate Championships held in May, about a month after the Australian Ultimate Championships of Grass. With this tournament coming up, quite a few of the teams put teams in. So the Mud Crabs played with an adapted name version, but yeah, most of their team was there, and they took home the win. The Hammerheads, so the Masters team, played as Crank Masters, so they were in the Crank jerseys, but it was essentially the Hammerheads, bar one or two. And yeah, because it was a mixed competition, the Platypi and the Reef Sharks, the men's and women's teams, joined together to make Reef Pie.
Yeah.
And they came third, so it was all of the rep teams taking home the medals.
Big fan of the Reef Pie. I was kind of hoping, I saw the jersey, I wasn't sure. Did they like morph an animal, those half Reef Shark, half
Correct.
Platypi?
They took the little animated team mascot and kind of morphed them together to make a Reef Pie.
Yeah, I saw that jersey, and I'm not fond of every Ultimate jersey I want to trade, but that's one I'd like to add to my collection, the Reef Pie.
Oh, me too. I was hoping to join them when they needed a couple of extra ladies, but New Zealand called, so had to go over there, unfortunately, instead of being in sunny Coolangatta.
Peter Huber now the disc. Puts up a high one.
Oh, and that just goes straight over the head of Habitford. Miscommunication there. You see he's shaking his head.
So a chance to extend their lead now. The mud crabs. An animal I'm not as familiar with, the mud crab.
Not me either. And we have captain to captain, Laura Minescu with the disc now.
So here, calls from the sidelines, where is the force? As that outside in flick to the break side is caught beautifully.
That is a pretty throw. Laura Minescu getting on the stat board.
Yeah, Laura, the spirit captain of this team, is she?
No, co-captain.
No, co-captain, all the captains.
Yes. They have 4 captains. They've got, co-captains Will Christopherson, Laura Minescu. They have spirit captain James Bray, and hype captain is Joe Hop.
Yeah, Joe Hop, one of the Melbourne players on this team.
Yes, he plays with Heads of State, which is my home club, and has played the last few years with Juggernaut. So he played in the World Ultimate Club Championships with them. But this is his first time in the green and gold jersey, so it's exciting times. Quite a few people in the green and gold for the first time of this campaign, just with the fact that it falls very close to a couple of other national campaigns. And like I also said, beach is just not as popular format in Australia, so people are prioritising their grass training. And a lot of very excellent players not trying out for this campaign.
Shame on you, Australians. Embrace the sand.
Embrace the sand, exactly. You'd think so. No, here we got Marvellous with another chance to capitalise. So let's see if we can get some cleaner O from them. Great take from Stevenson.
Stevenson, yeah, now with the disc. The player from Auckland.
And he's going deep.
You got to put that, and he does.
Oh.
Just like a buttery biscuit to the end zone. That's a great goal.
That is
Stevenson.
So pretty. And you saw the 2 anchor players of this team, Stevenson and Haberford, just working that and capitalising and getting that easy goal, which is probably the easiest O point we've seen them play so far.
Yeah, better play from Marvellous DC, kind of slowly settling into this game, but have a couple of goals to catch up on if they want to be in contention to win. Yeah, the mixed division, by far the biggest division at this tournament.
Definitely, and two reasons for that. One being that no Masters divisions ended up going ahead, so quite a few countries had already started creating their own Masters teams. So Australia being one of the Hammerheads, and India has one, and I believe a couple of other countries may have them too. But yeah, the Masters division didn't go ahead in the mix, so they folded into the mixed division and made it bigger. And also, with this tournament, they were open to club teams as well as country teams. So, as we can see with this particular team, it's an Australian national team versus a New Zealand club team.
Yeah, I think there's 16 Japanese teams in this mixed division.
Yes, that's correct. There's 2 women's, 6 men's, and 8 mixed. So, by far the biggest representation in the home country.
It's almost like a Japanese club championships mixed in with
couple of guest stars.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like it.
That's a pretty throw. Oh, fantastic bid there from Matt Finn. And that outside in flick from Shirahama looking pretty.
That was almost a deja vu throw from Wilco Stoppinson's earlier, that outside in flick to the break side.
Exactly, they're finding that sweet spot. And it's working. I'd like to see Marvellous potentially trying to stop those shots, but it depends. If you take away one risk, you give them the other.
Jen Thomas on the New Zealand roster, wearing the number 20. WFDF Director of Communications, also a journalist. Playing with the New Zealand team. Not entirely sure where the connection comes from, but delighted to have her out here. Lives in San Francisco.
Oh, fantastic. Well, the thing with these club teams is that you don't have to go through eligibility to play for a country. So, whilst with the Australian teams, there was a couple of community members. Only one in the end actually playing, but yeah, there was a couple of people interested in playing who were not eligible under any other representation, being a national team. But club teams, they can do what they want.
Nice shot to the end zone. This one's going to work out. That shot was money.
That's a beautiful throw there from Brisner. She's a shining star of the New Zealand Women's Under-24 team.
Yeah, she is a tall player and very athletic.
And she just copied right out of the Australians' book with that throw. Risner will be off to Germany next month with Karere, which is the Under-24 women's team for New Zealand.
Yeah, in Heidelberg, I'm going to be there.
I will not be there, unfortunately. Got to go back to Australia and work after this holiday.
This is work. I'm working now. Another hard day at the office.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see what defense Marvellous bring out now and whether they can start to shut down those options from the Australians.
Nice pull to the back of the end zone. Belinda Wilson. No, I haven't heard the name Belinda too much.
Yeah, she goes by Baz a lot.
Baz, okay.
A lot more Australian sounding.
There's a podcast I know where I can't actually say the name of the podcast where the star is Belinda. Belinda Blinks, I think. I don't know if you know the one I'm talking about. And now a beautiful shot to the end zone. Fantastic play from Australia.
Yeah, just that smooth offense, not giving New Zealand too much of a sniff.
Yeah, the deep shots on the flick side to the end zone have been fantastic from the Aussies.
And the wind is just absolutely sitting for it. And we've now reached half-time, though with this tournament there is no actual half-time break. It just switch ends.
Yeah, I like that. Keep the game rolling.
Just keep it going.
45-minute games here at AOBUC. If nobody gets to 13 before 45 minutes, you add 1 to the high score and you play to that. So pretty quick games.
Over and done with. And most teams are only having like maximum of 2 or 3 games a day, so a lot of hard grit for those 45-minute intervals, and then go rest, take a recovery swim, eat some food.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a recovery swim after this for sure. Haven't hopped in the ocean yet today, but That's why I love beach ultimate so much. You're beside the sea. I'm a man that grew up beside the sea, so I love it. Good for the legs and muscles as well.
Definitely. No, the physio for the men's and women's teams has made a compulsory swim this afternoon.
Compulsory swim.
Compulsory
I hope
swim.
everyone's able to swim, otherwise that'd be a dangerous move from your physio.
Well, not so much swim, more just a water workout.
No, 50 lengths for everyone. 100 meters breaststroke to start things off.
No, recovery workout. And we see a long shot going the downwind side, but it just cannot keep up with it.
Yeah, looks like he'd stopped and changed direction just as the hook came up, so he had to try and make up some yards and couldn't do so.
Yeah, he called that one early. Said, nah, I'm not going to get there. That's gone down.
Rebecca Soper picking up the disc. Very far away stack. Kind of a 4-person vertical stack. Probably isolating the captain in the end zone. Nice high release break.
Great take there from Haberford. And he looks about sending it.
Very vertical cuts from this New Zealand side. Just kind of running straight to the end zone and maybe coming back if they can't get it.
No.
Stray disc picked up by Australia.
Just floating a little bit too much with that wind.
A lot of whistling going on in the field there.
Oh, great take there. Shallard with the goal.
Yeah, Australia in a comfortable lead right now against this New Zealand club team. I have a naked Evan Boucher in front of me, so I'm trying to keep my cool. Thankfully, I'm in the shade here.
Are you intimidated, Liam?
Always. I'm an easily intimidated man. I see you're wearing pink sand socks.
I am.
Where'd you get them?
I got them at the local supermarket here in Shirahama. They're not official sand socks. They cost me probably like 1,000 yen, but they are doing the job.
It's actually not too hot, the sand. I think it's very comfortable to play, really.
Oh, no, it's definitely comfortable. This is just more for ease of walking between concrete and sand, so I don't have to keep getting sand in my sandals.
It's a fashion statement. Don't argue that it makes something else that's not. You're here for fashionals.
100%. And that just coming out of bounds. New Zealand with that brick advantage.
Yeah, the brick now 15 meters in beach ultimate, so that's 1/3 of the central area, so it's a big advantage. And we do have a change in streaming schedule. I know the next game will not be Australian men versus Singapore men. I'm not sure who we're changing with, but we're breaking up that 4-team Australian streak.
Fair?
Now, they might be changing to another Australian team. I don't know who we're swapping for just yet.
Marvellous DC punching that one in. Something worked for them this time. Maybe it's just that going downwind works more in their favour.
Yeah, and again, it's the under 24 star getting heavily involved. Zoe Risner, is it?
Correct, number 16, Risner.
Yeah, so kind of finding the groove now at DC after going 2 points down at the start of this game. Haven't been able to make up those yards, but definitely playing better.
Yeah, they've managed to find their groove and just not rush their throws so much, just so they can get those connections, because the Australian team are just punishing them anytime they get that throwaway or break. Yeah, the calm, patient offense from Australia is just punishing them. We see Wilson and Hop handling out together.
We see the Marvellous DC team tend to cut quite vertically, while the Australians quite lateral in their cuts, cutting from side to side of the field. Nice through the needle throw there. Good continuation. Joe Hop with the disc now, high release backhand to the break side. Oh, again, that corner has been proving very difficult to throw to. That's kind of the downwind corner.
Yeah, but those throws are just pushing out of the hands of the receivers. It's not like the opposite corner where they float nicely and sit nicely. They're bulleting down and faster than your body can lay for it.
Yeah, I think the majority of turnovers we've seen on this field all day is actually in this corner. And now the deep shot there. Oh, incredible grab under pressure. It says Supergirl on her back of her jersey, and for good reason. I didn't know there was a Supergirl. I know there was a Superwoman.
Yeah, there is a Supergirl. There's a TV show about her.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot about Marvellous DC comics here in this game. You wonder if you joined the team quite late, or you run out of all the kind of good superheroes. You're going to get like Towel Man or like Cabinet Boy.
No, there's bound to be some good ones. Oh, and Chen sending that straight in front of the end zone to Ruhlman.
She's looking at cramming in the cram hole, but has to reset. Good patience here for Marvellous D. Very static in the end zone. Oh, good movement on the mark to prevent that break throw. Good end zone defense here from Australia, but now they get the shot.
Everyone kind of bent over. It almost seemed like there was a call, but maybe it was exhaustion. I think. Yeah, the energy level seemed to have dropped a little.
Yeah, Ben Waller getting on the score sheet there. And how much does the Australian and New Zealand club scene mix? They come over for your championships. Are you kind of one community, or is it separated?
It's a bit. There's a little bit of overlap. So there's usually in also like in Australia, the men's and women's club season occurs in summer. So the New Zealand Championships happening end of March, and the Australian ones happening in April. And with mix, the Australian ones are in October, and the New Zealand ones are in November. Yeah, with the two countries have agreements that they will hold a spot in each division for a team from the other country. So I know New Zealand Ultimate usually awards that to the team who came first at the last year's Nationals. So this year's Australian Ultimate Championships, we saw Capital Punishment from Wellington in the women's division, and Dogma from Christchurch in the men's division. And in previous years, it's been flipped, and with Wellington men and Christchurch women. But we also saw Credo from Christchurch compete at the Australian Mixed Ultimate Championships in October. Less so Australian teams going over to New Zealand Championships, but we saw the under-24 teams in the men's and women's divisions going over to New Zealand's Championships in March to prepare for Heidelberg. And yeah, GWS, the Greater Western Sydney Women's Club, also competed this year as well. So it's good to see. There's a little bit of crossover, but each hold their own seeding and competitions.
All right, the big question on everyone's lips is, which country is going to be the first one to boot the Union Jack out of their flag? When's that happening?
Oof, I would say New Zealand will do it first. They almost did.
They almost did.
They almost did.
I know. Instead they kept, which is one of the worst flags, let's be honest here.
Yes.
It's basically your flag, and it has the Union Jack. I'm clearly biased as an Irishman against the Union Jack flag for obvious reasons.
Yes.
So please don't be offended. I'm more having a laugh, kind of, not really.
Oh, pick called there, but one would think it's retracted with LSC unable to reel in that very...
Yeah, they'll be getting a get out of jail free card if that was to go back. But the turnover will stand.
Yes, the turnover will stand. Yeah, the bladey throw, that's what I was looking for. I was going to say flicky. No, my word's just not working. You're distracting me with flag talk, which gets me on a rant. So I'm going to refrain from that as we watch New Zealand go downfield and forcing backhand.
A nice poach in the lane stops the hook. Seems like the Australian defense are very much trying to shut down that deep game.
We hear from the sideline saying, use the ladies, as they recognize Risner's great positioning.
Valdez again. Thomas down the end zone. Oh, incredible defensive play.
But there's been a foul called on that. LSC getting in there, and that's an uncontested foul call, so it just will remain with the New Zealand player.
Yeah, Andrea Giulia Mullaruni, originally from Rimini, Italy, one of the homes of Beach Ultimate. Big tournament there. Paganello. It's been going for, I think, over 30 years now. No doubt she got a lot of Beach Ultimate experience there. As Jen Thomas shoots the end zone. That's a great goal.
And that's 3 in a row for Marvellous DC. They are fighting back.
believe is that 3 in a row. Wow, fair play to them.
Mudcrab's looking a little, I don't know, a little down. They just need to find that energy and just kick it back up again and bring back what they had at the start of the game.
I'm going to trust our spontaneous scoreboard here and say it is 8-7 to Australia still.
Correct. I think they've managed to actually get the scoreboard working correctly now.
Kind of adds another bit of joy to the game, though. Not really knowing what the score is. Makes it this is for everyone, not just the people at home on the live stream.
Keeps the mystery alive. And there's been a timeout called, presumably by Australia.
So finding out more about Andrea Mullaruni, currently living in Japan, in Tokyo, but says her hometown is Rimini, Italy, and then it says that she's of Swiss nationality.
A true multinational there.
Yeah, mixed bag of nuts there, but getting plenty of beach ultimate experience in Rimini, Italy.
How did Italy stack up in the most recent European Beach Championships?
That's a good question. They focus a lot on grass, has to be said, Italy. So I know they did not medal in any division, but I can't tell you really more than that. Or maybe they don't want me to. But on grass, they're very good. Most teams coming out of Bologna, Italy, probably the biggest ultimate city in the world, are up there with it. But Cusp Shout are women champions in Europe.
Yep. And their under-24 men's team made it to the final. That was phenomenal. Yeah. That was great. And I was rooting for them as the underdogs in Perth, but USA, as usual, came out on top.
Yeah, I think they were up 5-2 at one stage in that game.
Yeah, they were.
Watched it again recently, and they have the majority of that team coming back for Heidelberg. Maybe Bruno mind a couple of players that are missing, but they are going to go hard against USA this year. They look like the best team in Europe, regardless of age. Beat GB men's there recently in a warm-up tournament, so
fantastic.
Yeah, we'll be seeing a few players on the field here at under 24s, as you mentioned. Risner is playing for under 24s. I don't know if anyone else. Anyone on this Australian mixed team playing under 24s?
I don't believe so. This team is a bit older. Like I think they're the youngest player. They've probably only got 1 or 2 players under the age of 25. Many of them later 20s or even 30s. We see them working that offense again.
Still have a 1-point lead, but momentum with New Zealand right now. So Australia looking to kill that as they do with a great shot to the end zone. The captain's taking over here.
Fantastic work. And yeah, they're fighting that gear. They clearly need that timeout. They found their groove back. And they're going to want to punch another one and going upwind, which is they've been their specialty so far this game.
Yeah, and about 7 minutes left on the clock. So hopefully they can hold that 2-point lead, the Australians, if they're looking to win this. But Marvellous DC from New Zealand fighting back hard.
Yeah, they're not going down without a fight, which is what you expect of superheroes.
Wind starting to pick up a little bit now, kind of going right to left, coming towards us a little bit, kind of a onshore sea breeze at the moment. But nothing too bad.
Yeah, the wind hasn't been too ridiculous so far, but we will see. The weather here seems to be unpredictable, so we'll be having to track that and see how this wind levels track.
Yeah, I was checking my wind guru, which is I use for surfing, predicting, and it has some not so fun weather forecast for Saturday, but I do not know the locality very well, and local things come into play here in terms of air movements from the mountains and the seas can make strange things happen. So we're hopeful that it will hold up this good weather we're having so far.
Definitely. Oh, and a great long shot there. That is so nicely played. And a great dive there.
Yeah, nice tumble roll, one-handed catch. Doesn't really matter how you catch it, as long as you catch it.
Exactly, and the Australian defender just kicking himself and not getting onto that. But next one.
And that was Angus Hines with the goal. the man coming out of Wellington.
Speaking of weatherman, he's a meteorologist.
Oh, I've just read that, yeah. So we
Yeah.
should ask him what the weather's going to be like.
So, yeah, it's a running gag in the New Zealand Ultimate community that leading up to training camps or tournaments, he will give them an outlook of what the weather's going to be like and how to prepare.
Yeah, he previously played for the New Zealand Under-24 Open team, I believe.
Yeah.
Might have been a few years back, that one.
Yeah, I believe he's closer to 30 now, so would have been a couple of years ago.
Apparently he has the nickname Bogus.
Yep, sounds about right. And he also, he played the Australian Mixed Ultimate Championships last year with a Melbourne-based team. Just having some invasions.
So how good is the coffee in Melbourne?
Fantastic. I am struggling over here, to be honest.
Oh, deep burn. I've yet to have a coffee. I don't drink a huge amount of coffee.
Yeah.
But I heard a lot about the Melbourne coffee because everyone from Melbourne tells you, whether you ask them or not.
We are coffee snobs and not ashamed to say it.
You snobs them anyway. That's not limited to just coffee.
Oh, and Australia's found that movement now that they need it. But great deep cover there. Bell Wilson running out of options, but they find it.
Yeah, nice little hop, skip and a jump from Joe there. Can get it in the end zone. That leading dump pass. Set up the break side shot. And yeah, they've stopped the bleeding for now. Keep their 2-point cushion.
Yeah, like earlier in this game, it was all the upwinds getting in the scoreboard, but now it seems that the trend has been bucked and people are taking it down to this downwind side.
So we're now seeing that WFDF had signal for 3 women. And we are playing the roulette rule, so you have 2 points in a row pretty much every time except for the first point. So for instance, it'd be 1 point, we have 3 females on line, next 2 would be two males, 2 females, and it goes on from there.
Correct, and yeah, more commonly known, I'm not sure if it's globally, but at least in Australia, is the ABBA rule.
I've been told it's the 1-2-2-2-2-2-2-2 rule.
No, so it's in terms of it being ABBA, it's more a case of you flip and say you pick 3 women first. That's your A gender ratio. So then you have 3 women, then 2 points of 3 men.
So it's the ABBA rule.
ABBA, yeah.
It is the ABBA rule. Let's call it the Dancing Queen rule.
Yep. What about a Waterloo rule? Oh, great over-the-top shot there from Stevenson to Haberford. And now he's going deep. He's got his honey. He's got his best mate. And
is that his honey? Is that Stevenson?
they're both his honeys. No, I think the intended receiver there was Ruhlman, but Stevenson just went.
I know mixed ultimate is pretty incestuous, but I think that's taking it 1 step too far.
Best mates can be honeys. No, Marvellous DC just punching that one in nicely and just sitting the disc great for a downwind receive. Put enough float in it that it just didn't slam straight down.
Speaking of incest, was Game of Thrones popular in Australia?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Quite popular.
Should we spoil the ending for everyone?
I mean, you're welcome to. I just don't care about it.
You don't watch it?
No, I don't.
And you love incest. This is
I mean, I am from New Zealand, so.
Yeah, so you were the perfect commentator for this game.
I really am. No, anytime I can jump in a New Zealand versus Australia game, I'm there.
Yeah, this is a great game so far, as of all the games been today. Australia looking at their first win on the showcase field, though.
But they still need to make sure they keep that cushion in order to have it.
And we do have a change in the streaming schedule. So we will not be showing another Australian team. For all those people that were hoping to have 4 in a row, Australia instead, we'll be showcasing the Japanese, I think, maybe Grandmasters men, the beers team, Japanese beers versus Singapore 1, the men's team there. It was supposed to be Australian men versus Singapore 2, but they decided to change that because we're getting sick of all the Australians. Nah, just kidding. I don't know why the overloads have changed things. I just commentate them.
Yep. Oh, and Marvellous with a chance to even these scores.
And this is the Nightwing. I'm going to start calling them by their superhero names now. Nebula.
We'll work at that full width of the field. Oh,
nice crossfield flick.
That was a pretty shot.
And it's almost a thrower's win. People having much more ease actually throwing upwind in this game as they can set it up for their receivers as opposed to the downwind. So that was a beautiful shot and a good use of the wind.
Definitely. And perhaps it's just with the sand just being that much harder to run on than grass. You know, you need that time on the disc. You can't just have a bullet going down because your running speed's slower.
Maybe yours. I run pretty fast in sand. We watched the Indian team earlier as well.
Oh, the Indian team have jets on their feet.
Most definitely. But yeah, I was really impressed with the Aussie Mixed Masters, the Hammerheads. They were really, really good. I was kind of thinking that India might blow them away, but they were winning for the majority of that game, and deservedly so.
Definitely. No, the Hammerheads have many years of experience on that team, and their women in particular are so fit.
Yeah, I noticed that. I saw them going for a swim actually yesterday. A lot of them seem like kind of beach water people.
Quite a lot of the team is based out of New South Wales, and quite a few of them also from Wollongong, which is great beaches.
Wollongong, I know Wollongong pretty well. The town I'm from, Lahinch Island, is a big surfing town. We're almost twinned with Wollongong. There's
there you
5
go.
or 6 of my friends live in the Gong.
You even got the nickname right.
I know all about the Gong. Tell me. The Verge is one of the waves there, I think they call it.
Yep.
Big surfing wave there.
Oh, and there was a foul on that throw there. Hines just calling it, self-calling it, knowing that that was not a clean block.
I think it was throw of the game, that return to the to Joe. Trying to flick while lying down on the ground. Ooh, that throw being called for there. Nice inside flick to Joe. Hop looking to get that continuation break. Oh, puts it out. And Thomas is sitting in the lane.
That is a fantastic read, and Marvellous with a chance to get their first lead in this game. And Hampton sends it. Oh, what a great set. He is literally on the end zone line. He calls a timeout.
Peter Human right outside end zone. That could be a clever call. I believe the time might be over in this game. I think it's probably a game to 12.
Yep. And it's a interesting call. You know, the timeouts in front of the end zone, risky. You know, like I was saying earlier, that creating that stoppage outside the end zone sometimes causes you to overthink, and you know, the cuts might be looking good, but the throws often are not.
You're really hoping for this commentator curse thing to come true, aren't you?
I have no favorites in this game.
you want them both to lose. Or draw. We'll end it here.
Game over, draw, mark down. No, I'm not going to do that. Somebody has to come out the winner here. No draws in Ultimate.
I was at a tournament recently where the rules actually did a draw. I'm trying to think of what it was. It does happen from time to time.
Certain leagues and whatnot allow it, but in terms of a championship like this, you need it.
NY Berlin had that. I think Windmill Windup might actually have it this year, which is a tournament happening in Europe this time. I think they're now allowing draws because there's a Swiss draw system they use for the majority of the tournament.
Yes.
So it's pretty rare. I was at Tom's tourney recently where they just finished the last point and end, so it's often you'd see the team who loses scoring the last point. So you'd score to lose the game, which is also bizarre. But generally speaking, definitely a championship event.
Yeah.
You cannot end in a draw.
No, in terms of you need to have a decider. And we see the Marvellous offense setting up. A deep vert stack.
I'm calling a Liam Haberfield isolation here at the front of the stack.
No, now I see that. I was thinking that, but that's definitely clear now. They've actually got the rest of the players much further back than him.
Offense have to set first, so defense get a little time to decide how they're going to set up. I won't be surprised if we see there's a poach there to try and stop that isolation. They're playing with 4 people in the stack as well, so very actually easy, I think, to poach.
And as you'd called, there was that Haverford ISO. Oh, and a fantastic layout grab there from Bops, getting on Hines.
Yeah, that was the play of the game. I thought they were going to get that shot off, and a fantastic full extension layout.
He's thirsty, and he sends it.
And he is completely free, trying to run that one in, but it's just a little bit short. And they are the first people up there, and that is a great goal.
That is amazing. That's why you should never give up on the disc. You know, there was no defenders. They were like, nah, that's not coming back.
Yeah, there was no one in the camera shot there. New Zealand players, they really gave up on that one.
Disappointing, but there was not much that could be done to stop that big long throw.
And it's because you called it during that timeout. You said it's not a good decision inside the end zone.
Look, I'm just going based on what I've seen.
Yeah, you're right.
I think literally the only team that I've consistently seen call timeouts in front of the end zone and actually score was the Canadian under-24 women's team in Perth last year. They were making that call quite regularly, but they had the collection that it worked.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that look with no reset in front of the end zone like that.
It's too risky.
I think Australia played it well. They had 15 seconds to decide what they want to do, came up with that kind of almost zone box-like defense in the end zone. It made all the New Zealand players have to move around. Stahl kind of got high, and Joe got that big defensive play.
Yeah, fantastic bid there. And that's the fun part about playing beach, is you can just throw your body on the line and it generates some great Ds.
So yeah, it is game to 12, I believe. So New Zealand have to score to stay alive. Going up with an offense now. Good break pass.
Oh, and a cold drop from Stevenson. Unlikely him.
Stop looking at the disc before he caught it. Bad idea. Australia with a chance to win now. Oh, and that is incredible. Hand block to get it back.
Great work from Haverford, saving the day for Marvellous DC. He finds Zoe Risner. She pivots. Engages dump.
That was a spicy inside flick. A lot of speed on that one. High into the air, but Stevenson catches this one. Gratuitous layout. Doesn't come up with the disc. Now a shot at the end zone. Stevenson. Oh, there's.
That was a fantastic bid. Dan Gladish putting his full body on the line.
Yeah, it's turning into an exciting point. Australia with the opportunity to win here. Have to go the full length. And they throw it straight away. Can he read this one and turn and spin? And no, it's too far.
But they've gained the yards. Marvellous DC going to have to work it all the way back up, upwind.
Yeah, and again, it's that huck downwind. It's very hard to lead players.
Definitely. Whilst, as we saw with that throw up the field earlier in the previous point, you know, you can put enough float that even your slowest runner can get to it. But also your slowest defender as well, so that's the thing to be aware of.
Stevenson now. A few people have gone deep. Thinks about the big huck. Goes for the big swing. And he sends it.
Oh, I think that's going straight out.
Oh, someone got a fingertip to it.
Risner almost getting that, but just not quite.
Yeah, I like that matchup. We saw Risner going deep. Definitely has the height advantage. Just couldn't float it up for the wind catching it and trailing it out of bounds. Got a fingertip to it, but very difficult to catch.
Yeah, she was dominating the most recent women's season. You know, a lot taller than most of the female players. And knows how to use her height.
So we see Australia again picking up this corner. Went for the huck straight away last time. They might try and be a little more conservative now. Gets that swing off. Good safe possession here from Australia.
They're working it through their girls.
Deep shot on now again. It's that downwind huck. Just it's very difficult to set up for someone.
Right over the head of LSC there.
Yeah, you almost just need to hit the player and not try to lead them at all, because it's too hard to run down one of those discs going downwind.
Definitely. Marvellous with another chance to save the day.
Yeah, if they can get this goal, they'll be going downwind on Universe Point. But first task is to march it up the field now. Lister and Stevenson getting very involved, and there's the deep shot. That one's going to hang beautifully.
Safe in Habitat's hands. You can see Stevenson wants it again. But they dump. Swing.
Yeah, nice give-go play there in the shot to the end zone, and we're going to Universe Point, folks.
This is the point of the game. I love it.
Amazing offense, and you're wondering, is it more of an advantage to go upwind or downwind, given what we've seen all game long? People have found it maybe easier to score going upwind.
I think they found it. Australia definitely found it easier going upwind. New Zealand, I mean, they were first capitalising going downwind.
And discussion here whether it's 3 men or 3 women on the line. They don't get to decide, but I just don't think they can remember which. The ABBA system flawed is in the memory.
Yes. No, you need somebody who is good at keeping track of it. I know in the last game I saw Hammerhead's coach Anson Chan with his clipboard, and he was keeping track.
Man loves a good clipboard, as do I. He's coached every single team in the world at this stage.
Pretty much.
I believe he was coach of Frisky at Worlds last year. I'm not going to try and name. I was going to start naming off teams he's coached, but we'll be here all day.
Most recently, in the Australian club season, he coached Fuse women's team out of Brisbane, and to their best result so far as a club, and also the highest result for a Queensland women's team.
Nice.
Typically, you know, the women's division in Australia being dominated by teams from Sydney or Melbourne.
Talk me through these Universe Point lines here for both teams.
All right, so the Australian team, we've got a good combination of grit and safe hands. I mean, Belle Wilson, for example, you know, a very steady, safe handler. Bop's defensively fantastic, but also is not afraid to send it offensively. And yeah, Anna Rosler, the one who just made that undercut, surprising grit in her. I'm really excited to see that match up between her and Sam Ruhlman.
Yeah,
as we see, she's got the speed on Sam.
Yeah, good cutting from the female players going upwind, gaining all the yards. Hope looking to get involved as the handler. Nice inside break pass, that was on. There's a shot to the end zone, can he get it off? And he shoots across, and it's a goal! Australia win! A perfect offensive point to win on double game point. Fair play to Australia.
Definitely, and you can see Belle Wilson is just coated in players as, you know, she was the safe hands anchoring there, and then just runs up and clears and makes that space for a goal.
Yeah, joy for all the Australians who've been sat here watching 3 games with us, slogged through the hard yards, but they get their first win on the showcase field. A fantastic game. Kudos to Marvellous DC from New Zealand. They played valiantly, fought back really hard, made for an entertaining Universe Point.
Fantastic work from them, and like I said, from the early parts of the game, we thought it might be a bit of a blowout, but it proved to certainly not be, as they found their groove and found their gear and gave us a great match.
Yeah, so up next shortly we'll have the Singapore men versus the Japanese Beers team, unlike the streaming schedule released earlier, so stay tuned for that. Thank you very much. I've been Liam Grant.
And I've been Katie Locke. Thanks for tuning in, and see you again shortly.